Well, good morning, Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Boston, and our Facebook Live community. We are so joyous that you have joined us this morning, and welcome to our Sunday celebration here at 50 Dudley Street in beautiful Cambridge, Massachusetts. Cool, yet not as cold as it could be for January, so we are feeling blessed. We are a community of love, peace, joy, perfection, wholeness, completeness, overflowing, abundant. Oh, all these things and more, right?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
That is who we are. And we are conscious spiritual seekers. And I am Rev G. Stewart, and I, along with Rev Ed Tansey, are the founders and spiritual leaders of this amazing and awesome community of love, light, joy, peace, perfection, wholeness, and all of those good things and more. Right?
Yes.
All of the divine attributes. So here at this center, we learn and we study and we practice the philosophy of the science of mind that was founded by our wonderful spiritual leader of Ernest Holmes, who synthesized and founded this teaching and this ability to have a deeper connection with the God of our understanding. Here at this center, we are radically inclusive. That means that we love everything and pull it and draw it into us, knowing that we are this infinite energy that we call that Mother, Father, God, Presence, or whatever name we use, because we know here that the name does not matter. We understand that it is understanding that this power and this presence, whatever we choose to call it, is expressing in our lives constantly. We're using it as we embody it through our mental ability. It is the mental science that we are using to create and expand this idea of ourselves as a divine expression. And we are empowering that with our emotions and our feelings. So we need to be in alignment and understand what those emotions and those feelings are, so that we can be empowering what we want more of in our life and not what we want less of in our lives. Focusing on what matters to us. So I welcome our Facebook Live community to check out our website at cslboston.org to find out more about our classes, our purpose in the world, and how you can support our purpose with your financial contributions, which we thank you in advance for your giving. So if you will please join with me as I set the tone for our service with our evocation. Just join with me in prayer, and if you're comfortable, you can close your eyes. So take a deep breath in right here and right now, and breathe in all that the divine is in your consciousness. And as you exhale, just release anything that no longer serves, knowing that it is dissolved in this love that we call the Mother, Father, God. This presence and this power and this universal creative force and source that is the quantum possibility field, that is the allness and the wholeness and the completeness of all of life, for it is the giving nature of the One. And this One is expressing itself constantly and continuously through all of creation. Therefore, I know that it is expressing itself as me right here and right now. And that all of the attributes of this One are mine. For it is the divine givingness. And as I know this for myself, I know this for each one who is in this room. I know this for each one who is joining us on Facebook Live, and I know this for anyone who is watching this through the archives later on. For this One is constantly and continuously expressing itself fully and wholly and completely as each one. So all throughout the cosmos are one with this One. And it is in this place of oneness that I know right here and right now that this service is a blessing to the world. It is a blessing to each heart who is here in this room. And it is a blessing throughout the cosmos. For I know that this divine expression is expressing as me and in me and through me right here and right now. So I know my message is empowered by this one source and this one substance. And I further know that the same expression is expressing itself to lift and enfold each heart here, to hear what they need to hear, to feel what they need to feel, to grow into the greatness of who they are. And I know that that is not only true for each one here, but it is true for all on Facebook Live and all throughout the cosmos. So I am grateful in knowing that this is all blessed. And I know that as we move into fellowship later on, that we will not only be sustained in soul from the words that we hear today, but it will be carried through as we nurture our bodies with the beautiful feast that we receive every Sunday here, which is an awesome gift. And so I accept all of these gifts knowing that it is fulfilled right here and right now. And I bless it and I release it into the law, knowing the law has received this word and has acted upon it right here and right now. It is fulfilled, it is done. And I say, blessed be, amen, ashe, aho. And together we say, and so it is. Now I invite practitioner Vicky Barrios to come give us our spiritual reading.
So the reading, good morning. Good morning. Reading today, the first reading comes from the book, The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes' tome on this beautiful philosophy. We're on page 478, and it's on love. Love. Love is the central flame of the universe. Nay, the very fire itself. It is written that God is love, and that we are his expressed likeness, the image of the eternal being. Love is self-givingness through creation, the impartation of the divine through the human. Love is an essence, an atmosphere, which defies analysis, as does life itself. It is that which is and cannot be explained. It is common to all people, to all animal life, and evident in the response of plants to those who love them. Love reigns supreme over all. The essence of love, while elusive, pervades everything, fires the heart, stimulates the emotions, renews the soul, and proclaims the spirit. Only love knows love, and love knows only love. Words cannot express its depth or meaning. A universal sense alone bears witness to the divine act. God is love, and love is God. The second part of my reading comes from page 43 from The Science of Mind. Love rules through law. In an intelligent study of the teachings of the science of mind, we come to understand that all is love, and yet all is law. Love rules through law. Love is a divine givingness. Law is the way. Love is spontaneous. Law is impersonal. We should study the nature of reality with this in mind, and in this way we shall avoid two grave mistakes, either viewing life as made up only of mechanical laws, or viewing it as made up only of spontaneous actions, irrespective of law and order. As we gain the broader viewpoint, we shall see that life must contain two fundamental characteristics. We shall see that there is an infinite spirit operating through an infinite and immutable law. In this, cosmos and not chaos finds an eternal existence in reality. Love points the way, and law makes the way possible. And the last part of my reading is kind of a synthesis of those two readings that I have. This is one of my favorite readings, and it is from the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. It is often used by many people in recovery. And there's a promise of life as it is, and this is for all, not just recovering addicts, as life is when you live a life of love and law. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past, nor shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, but they will always materialize if we work for them, and that is love, and that is the law. And so it is.
So it is. All right, well, we're done. That was a beautiful reading. Thank you. And I love how you synthesized it all over. That was wonderful. So, here we are in 2020. We're following the Centers for Spiritual Living's theme, and I know most of us have our books for our 2020 theme, Spiritual Vision. And what a wonderful thing that is to have spiritual vision, and what a blessing it is that we have that here. And of course our February theme, which of course February being the month of love, right, is all the colors of love. And when we talk about all the colors of love, we also remember that February is Black History Month. So we are celebrating the colors of the world, right? Because we all show up in different ways and in different colors and in different forms and just ways of being. So it's really a wonderful thing. And now today's talk is for the love of God. And we've heard that one before, haven't we, right? You know, some people say it in more of an expletive way. Oh, for the love of God, right? We've heard that. That's how my mother used to use it. I remember that. So, anybody have somebody who used it like that? Oh, yes, we've all been there, right? But we're talking about for this love of this God and what that means. Now, Ernest Holmes talks to us about this love of God in this quote. Love is the self-givingness of spirit through the desire of life to express itself in terms of creation. Emerson tells us that love is a synonym for God. And we heard that in your reading this morning, Practitioner Vicky. Thank you. We are also told in the New Testament that he that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. Love is free from condemnation, even as it is free from fear. Love is a cosmic force whose sweep is irresistible. Let's break that down. Let's look at that. So we look up here. Love is the self-givingness of spirit through the desire of life to express itself in terms of creation. What is that creation? Everything that's around us, right? And us, right? It's all of that. And so there's self-givingness of spirit is giving to us all the time. And that's what he's telling us here. That it's God's desire to express as us. That's how it is seen in the world, is through us. And through all the forms that we come in touch with, right? The animals, the trees, the snow, whatever it is, of which we have had little snow, thankfully, so far.
For the love of God.
For the love of God. Thank you. Yes, Nan, indeed. For the love of God. We have had no snow. So let's go on to what Emerson says. So Emerson tells us that love is a synonym for God. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Isn't that what we're taught when we're kids? That God is love? And it's a limitless love, right? There's no conditions on that love. At least when we're kids. Then we grow up, right? So, we are also told in the New Testament that he that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. How true is that in our life? That when I am not knowing, when I am not in that place of not loving, that I'm not knowing God. Would you agree? Because God is love. And then we go to this last piece here, right? Love is free from condemnation, even as it is free from fear. Have you ever noticed that when you love, that you melt away fear in your life? And that you cannot be condemning and loving at the same time.
Multitasking.
Not even in multitasking. That's right, Nancy. You can't even do that in multitasking because it's not possible. If I'm in condemnation, I'm not in love. And if I'm in love, I can't be in condemnation. And that this love is a cosmic force that the sweep is irresistible. Wow. It like pours over you like a wave when you can feel and know love. Ernest has such a way of giving us a gift. Now, this force that he speaks of, this sweeping force that is irresistible, uses its power. And this is what Ernest Holmes says about that power. He points it out in this quote beautifully. Love does not overcome hate and fear by argument or force, but by some subtle power of transformation, transmutation, sublimation, invisible in its essence, but apparent in its act. So it's not forcing anything. And if you think about it, you know, I tend to be a touch of a fan of Star Wars, so, you know, may the Force be with you, right? But if you notice that when they say that, they're not talking about forceful. They're talking about a force that is really coming from within us, right? Science fiction has offered us so many ways to see the divine in a whole different way when you think about it. Would you agree? In a way that is so true to what I feel it is. So this is an irresistible, overflowing good, and it transforms and transmutes. That's how it works. It is not forcing anything. It's not a destructive force. Because if I'm in a destructive force, am I in love? No. I'm out of alignment with that love. So now, I don't know if any of you have ever had the experience of maybe having a conversation and being able to keep yourself in love in that conversation despite the fear and anger and hatred of the individual you're working with. Has anybody been able to do that? It's a test. It's difficult sometimes. However, if you can do it, what you will find is that as you continue to hold that space of love in that situation, you have taken the wind out of their sails of hatred and fear and separation. Because it can't continue to exist unless I join into that hatred and fear and separation consciousness. So staying in that alignment of love is offering a gift to those who are out of alignment with love. Would you agree? And that is such a powerful thing. Who has ever experienced that? Right? When you can be in that place of love, and somehow it just shifts everything. It is so powerful. It is that transformation, that transmutation. It is that changing. So the basic ideas that I want to get across to you today is that giving, receiving, and making love are spiritual acts. And that they can be gateways to our greater experience of the divine of our understanding, the God of our understanding. So in order to cover these basic ideas, I want to talk to you today about getting out of the way and letting love live through you. Doing the right thing and making it easy. And finally, who is doing the loving? So those are the three things I want to talk to you about today. So let's start with getting out of the way and letting love live through me or through us. Let's start with that. So I begin with getting out of the way and letting love live through us, because first, we need to start with what Ernest Holmes told us about that. He said that love is the self-givingness of spirit through the desire of life to express itself in terms of creation. That first sentence of our first quote this morning. So, I need to be in alignment with that love. When he says to express itself in terms of creation, who's he talking about? We have to understand that we are individualizations of that one infinite universal spirit. And that we are part of that creation. And each of us has our place in that creation, do we not? We all bring the gift of our personality and the beauty of who we are. Otherwise, life would be real boring, right? We were all the same, real boring. So, we are a part of that life with a capital L. Not just our life, which is the small L life, but when we are living in that fullness of what God is, then we are in that capital L life. And we're showing up as God itself. So, that is the divine expressing as life. It can't express without each one of us. It has to have us. You know, the song we sang this morning, our first song, Use Me, right? God can't express unless he can express through us. Yes, it shows up in nature, but if we aren't there to appreciate that nature, then God is not expressing, is it not? It's expressing every time that we show up. So then we have to take a look at what is getting in the way of letting love live through you and me and get out of that way. That's what we have to do. So as we do this wonderful work of opening into the divine presence that is within us all, we have to see that some things are real and some are imagined. And this is important. This is an important point. Because in our minds, we don't know the difference between real and imagined. You know, science shows us that they have done studies on athletes. And they have shown that these athletes have the same physical responses, whether they are physically running and moving and doing what they do, or whether they are visualizing it and sitting in a chair. Your mind doesn't know the difference. So it's realizing that I need to be aware of what I'm believing or what I'm imagining. And know that I can shift that at any time. I can choose a new way at any time. So our joyful work is in rooting up the mental blocks that may be hidden in our subconscious. And some of these things can be hidden because they may have been just a cultural upbringing of ours that we blindly bought and accepted. They may be things that we don't even remember happened to us, and yet it's still floating back there. It's still back over here. So I have to do my work to clear the limited ideas and conditions that are holding me back from my highest and best. Otherwise, I can't show up as that love, can I? I can't be that love in the world. So sometimes these things are hard for us to see ourselves. It's always so interesting to me that there's always someone who's more than happy to point out the things that I'm not good at, or I don't, or I may be holding on to things. But that's the beauty of community. And that's the beauty of a community of spiritually seeking individuals, is that we can help each other see what we can't see for ourselves. And we can do that in a loving way, can we not? Because it's important that we do it in a loving way, because I can't hear it if you tell me what's wrong with me. Right? And sometimes I'm not ready to hear it. So sometimes maybe I don't need to hear it right now. And that's okay too. But what's important is, as a spiritual community and as a family of spiritual seekers, we need to be able to hold the truth for people before they're ready to hold it for themselves. That's what being a practitioner in this teaching is. You don't have to be licensed to be that kind of a practitioner. But it's knowing truth before truth is appearing in that life, or in my life. So it's powerful. And as we look at, and we just shared this together as we read this together in our community, our purpose statement, our first purpose statement, which is who we are in the world, right? We are a safe, welcoming, nurturing spiritual community of light, love, and joy. So if someone comes in and is not in their highest and best self, I have to remember that I need to be that, no matter where they are on their journey. I need to remember that I am there to help them to see truth as and when they are ready. Doesn't mean I force it, right? Because love, what did we just say about love? It transmutes, it transforms, that's what it does. So I need to be that loving support. And if anyone shows up in the community who is not in that place, I need to know that as your spiritual leader so that I can lovingly go to that individual and help them. Would you agree? So if someone hurts you in the community with something they say, or if you see someone saying something hurtful, if you don't feel like you're in a place to lovingly remind them that that they may not be in that loving alignment, let me know. Let a practitioner know. Let someone know so that we can be that light for that individual. Because they need to be loved. When we are out of alignment, we are calling for more love in our lives. You notice that? The bad kid is calling for love. Because they don't know how to call for it appropriately. And so our job is to be that appropriately loving presence. Would you agree? We need to show up that way. Now let's look at doing the right thing and making it easy. Now I know that sometimes it may seem hard to do the right thing. There are those places and those people and those situations that test us. The reason I said doing the right thing and making it easy is because I don't want to get stuck on the idea of hard. That word hard, what does it do? It immediately sets a tone, doesn't it? It immediately sets a tone of, this is going to be hard. Because I don't want to set that consciousness into the universe of hard. I want to know that this is easy. And so when I say this is easy, it means that yes, there is work to be done, but it should be a joyful work, a peaceful work, a loving work. We can make the right thing easy when we get clear within our own consciousness as to what we want to offer to the world. What do I want to offer to the world? Ask yourself that question. And the cool thing about all of that is that as we get a clear idea of the right way, which by the way is the right thinking way, right? When we are in right thinking, we start to naturally feel better. Have you noticed that? That when I get myself out of that angst or whatever it is that may be limiting my experience, that I start to feel better. You know, it's like that perfect easy chair. You know the one, right? That chair that when you sit in it, it just covers you and you just feel fully supported in that chair. You know the one, right? That is the everlasting universe. That is the divine supporting you. that is a sense that you can take with you when you're in those difficult situations. Imagine in those difficult situations, if you can imagine yourself sitting in that easy chair, how are you going to respond to whoever is with you? You're supported. You're uplifted. So in this place or mindset, we become aware of the glorious and holy love of the universe and can naturally let it flow into the world of expression around us. Isn't that awesome? You know, after all, Ernest Holmes tells us that the everlasting arms are beneath, but they bear us up only when we enter into truth. And when I'm in love, I am in truth. When I'm out of alignment with love, I'm no longer in truth. And I can't be supported. So those everlasting arms are always there, but I have to be in truth to experience it, to know it. So Ernest Holmes tells us that as light overcomes darkness, so the radiant presence of love and peace dissipates fear, hate, and confusion. Again, we're back to that same point. That realization that as light overcomes darkness. And so if I'm in alignment with love, am I not that light? Am I not expressing in the world as that light? And as I continue to be light in the world, what happens? I'm radiating love and peace. And I am dissipating fear, hate, and confusion. And we have a lot of opportunity in our world right now to be that light, do we not? And that's what I want to be. I want to be for something and against nothing. Because if I am against something, what I resist persists. Right? So we don't want to be in that place. So with right thinking, we become that light in the world. Right thinking. We are only living a righteous life when we are right thinking. Would you agree? So, in this living in righteousness, which, by the way, I like to say is right thinkingness, and it changed the whole idea of righteousness for me when I said that a few weeks ago. Because it made me realize, it's like, yeah, that's what righteousness is. It's being in my right mind. Right thinkingness. So, as we look at who is doing the loving, the last point that I want to bring to you today, we ask, is this coming from the small e ego self? Seldom. Because if we're in that small e ego self, we're limiting experience around us. Because the ego is there really, and it's a beautiful thing because it's there to protect us and has protected us through time infinitum. But it's also time to say, you know what? I don't need to be protected anymore. I can be the loving presence that I'm meant to be. I no longer have to be that knee-jerk reaction of the ego. Because the ego does tend to be that knee-jerk reaction, reactive, instead of coming from a place of love. So, when we are right thinking, we are in alignment with that divine love and are expressing it all around us. Have you noticed that? When you're there? So, February is Black History Month. And so I want to look this week at 3 of our black sisters and share what they have to say about this thing we're talking about today, the love of God. So let's begin with Octavia Butler. She says, kindness eases change, love quiets fear. Just what we're talking about today, isn't it? And I had a hard time finding a picture of that woman smiling. She had such a serious look in all of her pictures that I found that one. I said, there you go, I found her smiling. And what a beautiful smile, what a beautiful face that she's offering us here. So this is truly a statement of aligning with our divine love. Would you agree? The capital L love does indeed quiet our fear. Because if I realize that I am love and that I am loved by God, then how can I live in fear? Because fear is only going to separate me from that divine good. So the next person I want to look at is Lucille Clifton. And she says this in her book, The Lessons of the Falling Leaves. The leaves believe such letting go is love. Such love is faith. Such faith is grace. Such grace is God. When you think about it, the leaves letting go, this idea of the leaves letting go is love. Because they know. They don't cling to the branches. They let go. When we let go into love, all of these pieces fall into place. Such love is faith. Would you agree? That when I can love and know that love will return to me, I can be in faith for that. And such faith is grace. Knowing that it is the givingness, the self-givingness of spirit, which is grace. It's there. It's guaranteed. But only when I align myself with it. Otherwise, it's not there. And such grace is God. And I just love that. It's so beautiful. Now, lastly, I want to share with you one of my favorites. Well, she's probably my favorite. I love this woman, Maya Angelou, who has such a beautiful poetry about all of her words. So in the flush of love's light, we dare be brave. And suddenly, we see that love costs all we are and will ever be. Yet it is only love which sets us free. That's a powerful statement. She's speaking to the fact that it is in this light of love that we can truly be brave in the world. We can truly show up as spiritual warriors. And that's not in a forceful way. That's showing up as that love that you know is transforming and transfiguring everything. And she realizes and says to us that you're giving everything away, all that you are. And yet it is in that giving away of all that we are that we are set free to experience that fullness of love. Such powerful thing, this thing called love. And so what I'm going to ask you to do this week is I'm going to ask you to allow yourself to get out of the way and let love live through you. Can you do that with me? Will you do that with me this week? And then find yourself doing the right thing. Live in righteousness, and as I say, right thinkingness, which will make being and giving love easy. Will you do that?
Yes.
And the last one I ask you is to finally remember who is doing the loving. The divine is loving through each one of us. Will you allow God to love as you this week? In this way, we offer to ourselves and the world our true magnificence, and together we co-create a world that works for everyone and all of creation, which is one of our purpose statements. It is what we are called to fulfill here at Center for Spiritual Living Greater Boston. So let's be that love in the world. Namaste. Vicki to come up and give us our spiritual mind treatment.
Being in this place of divine love and knowing this, that there is only God, purpose of this treatment is for me to know that each one here, each one on Facebook Live is the self-givingness of God, which is love. There is only life. There is only source. There is only this one grand vibration. This vibration is the creator of all, the giver of all. This is life itself. This is God. This is love. It is all there is. It loves freely, powerfully, with a self-knowingness that is grounded in a faith that only knows itself and knows itself as purity, as beauty, as intelligence, as knowingness, as givingness, as heart, as love. And this love, oh God, is this divine matrix, is this quantum field where everything is. Everything is in this divine quantum field of pure potentiality and possibility. This is God. And knowing that this is so, I know that I am of this source. I know that I am of God. That I am a creation of the divine expressing itself in all of its greatness and grandeur and all of its self-givingness, lovingly choosing and selecting to create as me. That in the cells of my body, the essence of my being, that I vibrate with coherence in my heart, in my mind, and this coherence of this energy, these waves, that is who I am, is the divine life of God itself. Knowing that this is true for me, I know that this is true for each one here and each one on Facebook Live. That each life is a gift of the divine, a beautiful gift of pure potentiality, pure, unlimited life force itself. That each one here truly is God in expression. That is the truth and there can be nothing else. Knowing that this is so, right here and right now, I claim for each individual here that they, through their right thinking, know a connectedness, a oneness with Source. Knowing that it is their thoughts, their beliefs, their attitudes, that is the conduit that brings the divine's expression through and as them. That divinity, that life force is already there. It is the consciousness of each one as it is cleared right here and right now that there is nothing but love. Love is life. God is love. Each one is love. God is creativity. Each one here is creativity. God is joy. Each one here is joy. That this life force springs from their hearts, their minds, their bodies. And as they know and feel this essence, this divine bright vibration in the cells of their body, it moves forward. It moves them forward into a greater self-knowingness of who they truly are. And that this self-knowingness creates a desire for a greater and greater expression of the divine in their daily life. That they know that there's only God. And that if there is any semblance of fear, of confusion, of anxiety, of anger, of resentment, anything that is not God, that those emotions and experiences are quickly and easily released from their mind and their body. So that the truth, which is always there and always present, is expressed. And that each one here has the heart and the mind and the eyes to see the truth behind situations, to know the truth of their brother, to know the truth of their sister, to know the truth of situations. And that love truly does dissolve all ideas and thoughts of anything other than itself. Because it can only be that way, because that is God. And knowing this, life for each one is a joy, despite what the outer conditions may be, the appearance of it may be. Because in their hearts, in their minds, which are in coherence, they know that they are of the divine. And in this divinity, everything is possible. And that God is nothing but love, and love transforms everything. And that this self-givingness of God is such a beautiful journey, a journey of light, a journey of laughter, a journey of joy, a journey of compassion. This is life. This is God. This is who each and every one is. And I claim this for everyone in my heart. I know that this is the truth. I claim this, and I know this, and I feel this. This is the truth. Life expressing itself. And I have thanksgiving and gratitude that this is the way life works. That this is love and this is law. And there's nothing other than that. That this is the way, the blessed and beautiful way that we get to express the divine. Thank you. Thank you in my heart. It's gratitude of who I am and who everyone is. And I release my powerful word into the law of life, into the law of cause and effect. And I know it is done. It is peaceful. It is complete. It is whole, and it is perfect. And I end my treatment by saying, Amen. Blessed be. And together we say, and so it is.
Breathe that in. Powerful. Thank you. Thank you. So, are we ready for an affirmation? All right. Here is our affirmation. Today I allow the principle of love to flow through my mind, through my speech, and into my actions. I know that by choosing love, I create a world around me that works for all. Are you ready to read it together? All right. Today, I allow the principle of love to flow through my mind, through my speech, and into my actions. I know that by choosing love, I create a world around me that works for all. Yes. I do it again? One more time. Today, I allow the principle of love to flow through my mind, through my speech, and into my actions. I know that by choosing love, I create a world around me that works for all.